Hi, welcome to the Spark Lab. I'm Rebecca and this is Book and Cook. Today we are going to make some candied jalapenos. This is a great way to use up jalapenos that you might have that have started to get a little wrinkly and soft. Also, if you get them real cheap somewhere or it's the middle of summer and you've grown jalapenos because you like salsa and suddenly you have hundreds more jalapenos than you can ever eat in salsa. This is a way to preserve them and keep them around for other dishes. First thing you're going to want to do is you will want to chop up your jalapenos. I suggest using gloves when you do this. Wash them, take the stems off, and then slice them into discs. This is more jalapeno than we're probably going to use for this, so we're going to end up with some jalapeno in the freezer. But it takes probably about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of jalapenos to do this recipe. It's best if you're going to put it in, if you like to can, you can do this in canning jars, pint-sized canning jars, and then run them through your canner. If you're not into canning, you can just use, this is Ziploc brand screw top. They're a little heavier duty. They will take a hot liquid because we will be cooking a brine for this, and you're not going to want something cheap that is going to melt through the plastic. So we're going to brine. They're basically pickled candied jalapenos, and then you just store them in your refrigerator. You can use glass jars for that and not can, and they will keep a little bit longer, but they can go in your fridge just like a regular pickle. And with a pickle, because you're using the vinegar, they really can sit in your fridge for a year. They're not going to go bad as long as they're refrigerated. Canning, again, can keep it for a year. You just don't have to keep it in the fridge. So first thing we're going to start out with is we're going to add to our pan 4 cups of sugar. I don't know that I'm going to get 4 cups, so that's going to dictate how much jalapeno I get to do by how much sugar I have. We don't keep a fully stocked pantry here in the Spark Lab, so this is left over from some other recipes, so it may not be the 4 full cups that I want. So I got 1, I got 2, 3. Oh, I might get my 4. 4 and a little bit over. This is not a precise measurement. It's not baking. This is cooking. Cooking is an art. Baking is a science. So you set that to the side. Now when I make my chocolate cake, I'm going to have to get more sugar. Then you're going to want to add 2 cups of vinegar. We're using white distilled vinegar today. You can use apple cider vinegar. That's going to give you a little sweeter taste than your white distilled, just the way it works. We're going to do 2 cups of white distilled vinegar. 1. 2. Again, this is a art, not a science. So if you're looking and you're going, I think I want just a little more vinegar. That'll give you tartar jalapenos. I'm throwing in another cup, so I'm using 3 cups today. Set that to the side. Get that out of your way. A pickling brine is more than just water and sugar, or just not water and sugar, vinegar and sugar, or just vinegar. So we're going to be adding to our brine some cumin. We're going to do about 2 teaspoons of cumin. And like I said, about, because like this is not science. You put extra in, it's going to taste more cuminy. You'll recognize cumin. Maybe you don't use it regularly, but it's used a lot in Mexican and Central American, South American cooking. Also, it's base for if you like to make chili and you get pre-made chili, mixed chili beans, or you get pre-made chili whatever, cumin is going to be one of the ingredients. You also might recognize the smell from your taco seasoning. If you get your envelope of taco seasoning, most of that's going to be cumin. That's that smell you really smell. It's also in if you get adobo, not the liquid that's on your chipotle chilies, but like the powdered adobo seasoning, that also has cumin in it. You're going to turn on your burner, and you want to bring your liquid. You can start it cooking at any point once you've added the sugar and the vinegar. And I meant to start it then, but I didn't, so I started it now. So we have 2 teaspoons of cumin. We're going to do a couple teaspoons of celery flake. You can use celery seed also. Celery seed is very common in pickling. If you buy like pickling spices, you're going to have celery seed in there. I'm using celery, regular celery, because I didn't have any seed in the pantry again. It's also what you're going to find celery seed in, like I said, pickling brines. It's also what you find when you get your corned beef. That's one of the things you find in the little packet that comes with your corned beef brisket that you might add to your stuff is celery seed. We're going to add some crushed red pepper. You can also use cayenne powder if you prefer. I am going to use 2 teaspoons of crushed red pepper flakes. That'll give it a little bit of a different sort of kick. Obviously, jalapenos have their own kick. We're also going to add just a handful, just guess, see, there's a handful of black peppercorns. You know what? I'm making a bigger handful. Probably a teaspoon or 2. And then we're going to add 4 teaspoons of garlic powder, granulated garlic. You can also, if you'd like, you could do minced garlic, or you could do sliced garlic, however much you like. If you really like garlic, use a whole head of garlic. I don't care. I would. I like garlic. 3, 4. Set that to the side. And you're going to want to stir that and heat it. You want to take a little peek. We'll tilt it a little. See, it kind of looks like almost a soup base. Kind of smells like almost a soup base. Part of the reason why you have to heat it is because that'll infuse the flavors into your jalapenos better. Not only that, but you want your sugar to dissolve. And since you have so much sugar to so little liquid with the vinegar, you're going to need to heat it to make a super solution. Now I'm going to take you back to your high school chemistry classes, super solutions. If you want to put more of something in a solution, you heat the solution so the liquid can kind of absorb more of these solid molecules of whatever you're sticking in it. And I lied, see? There's a little bit of science in cooking. It's just not an exact science. Whew, and you can smell those spices as they start to, don't stick your head over the top of the pot. You can really start to smell all of that vinegar and all those spices all coming together in your pot. So now, as it's heating up, I'm going to slip my little glove on here. And I'm going to grab handfuls of jalapeno and drop them in the pot. Lots of jalapeno. Fill that pot up. Leave enough space so you can stir, but fill that pot up as high as you want. It might help if you use a slightly bigger pot. Didn't get out the big pot. Just keep fitting as many jalapenos in there as you can until your pot is pretty full. Try not to get them stuck on your fingers. My suggestion would be, do not now stir with your other hand. Do not get your handle all covered in jalapeno. But leave your glove on in case you want to add handful or two more. You're going to want to heat this up to high because you're going to want to actually get the jalapenos to a bubbling boil. And if you end up throwing too many jalapenos in your pot, not a big deal. Grab a little more sugar, grab a little more vinegar, throw it in your pot. I think though that's about all I'm going to be able to fit in here. So, tamp those down a little. I'm going to move our jalapeno bowl so I'm not tempted to reach back in it. Strip off our glove. I'm not dropping it on the floor. There's a garbage can down here. Promise. I wouldn't do that to our cleaning guys. So this is going to take a little bit because you want this to heat up and you want it to cook. You want it to get hot and be bubbling and cooking for a good 5 to 10 minutes while they are cooking. So while I'm waiting for that to happen, I don't really think you want to stand here and stare at me staring at a pot for 5 to 10 minutes. So we're going to take a short break, and when I get these bubbling and cooking, we'll come back together and we'll go on to the next step. See you in a little bit. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So we've been cooking these on the stovetop here for about 5 to 10 minutes. Your jalapenos are getting a little soft. Do not stick your face over the pan. That is intense stuff going on in there. Actually leaning even this far away, not directly over it. I'm occasionally getting a little watery-eyed. Once it's been bubbling and cooking and they're cooked down a little, you're going to keep the burner going, but take your container, get a slotted spoon, and you're going to fill your container up with the jalapenos. It is so much easier with this nice wide mouth container than it is trying to jam them into a jar. But if you want to can them, glass jar is the way to go. And glass jar is also the way to go to not necessarily, burn your hand. But you're going to want to get it all emptied out. Intense. Spooning them out. You're going to leave a little space at the top. You can also throw these in the freezer. If you do throw them in the freezer, make sure you leave about 1 inch of headspace. Remember, water expands when it freezes. Do not explode your container in your freezer and have jalapeno juice all over your freezer. It will freeze, but it'll be all over your freezer. And it's not fun to clean up. So our other container. The reason why we are using the slotted spoon is you're going to actually want to heat your liquid up and boil it down just a little, concentrate it into more of a juice, more of a syrup, because it's got all that sugar in there. Keep spooning it off. Come on, you last few in there. Anybody else hiding out? Wait, there's a little piece. Don't worry about all the seeds or all the pepper and all the other stuff floating. It's going to look about like that inside your container. And you're going to crank the heat on that. And let it cook down a little bit. Again, you're not going to want to watch me stare at this for 5 to 10 minutes while you boil it down again. So, see you in a couple. Bye. Okay, so your liquid here on the stove has boiled down a little bit and is a little thicker, a little more like a syrup. You then turn off your burner. Get rid of your... You're just going to take your container, swing my stuff around here. And if you have a smaller mouth jar, you're probably gonna wanna use a ladle. And actually with this wide mouth jar, I'm still gonna wanna use a ladle. It just makes life easier and less messy. You don't end up with it all over your countertop. And you just want to spoon the liquid over the top of your jalapenos. Don't forget your friends in the other container. If you're feeling it's getting too hot, get a glove. Don't burn your hands. Not a smart idea. Or set it down so you don't burn your hands. Remember that you're going to want to, if you're using jars and you're canning, you're going to want to leave a 1/2 inch of headspace to can. If you're planning on throwing this in a freezer, you're going to want to make sure you leave 1 inch at the top to freeze. Just go ahead and fill your containers all the way up as far as you can. Try not to breathe in the steam. It's really intense. If, when you get done, you're looking like you're ending up with a little more juice than you have space in your jars, don't throw it out. Don't be wasteful. Get another container, pour that extra juice in that container. It's a great base for a vinaigrette. You can have a spicy vinaigrette for your salad once it's cooled down. It's great to pour over, marinate your meat with. Just like if you were, throwing jalapeno, throw it in with your tacos, throw it in with your fajitas, whatever you want to do. Don't throw it in the garbage is what I'm telling you though. Save it, don't be wasteful. It's good stuff. Don't waste the good stuff. Once you are all set, like I said, screw on your cap. Can it if you're canning it. Stick it in your fridge if you're sticking it in your fridge. Stick it in your freezer if you're sticking it in your freezer. And then you go, but Miss Rebecca, what do I do with these things now that I got them in my freezer or my fridge or just sitting around my house? Why do I want these? Why do you want these? They're a sweet, hot treat. They're great on your tacos. They're great in a salad. They're great with a meat. If you want to do a roast, you can throw them over the top of a roast. You can even eat them just like you'd eat any kind of other pickles, straight out of the jar. Put them on your charcuterie board. Give a little spicy kick to your charcuterie board. Great for any time. If you're a jalapeno lover, this is a new way to have them. Gives you a little bit of sweet heat. Tastes great. I thank you all for coming and joining us here at Book and Cook in the Spark Lab. We'll see you next time. Bye.